Yeah. So what do you fancy doing as a first video?
It's just a trial run to make sure it's credible, and it's basically an explanation of where we are as a Elias family.
Okay. So you're going to go back how far?
I think we go back as far as our parents.
So you're not going to start with grandparents. You're going to start with our parents.
I think the lessons that could be learned from the grandparents are going to be different to and less meaningful, I think, than the messages from our parents and how it impacted us as parents of the people that could be listening to this later.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's this idea that you can start with places and schools attended and places where you played and all that sort of thing, or you can try and get to this more complicated level of where, this in their lives made them like they became, and explained where they ended up living, maybe what the children they had, where they went on holiday, etc., etc. Then the individual components might be things like spiritual, things like health, things like their vocations, things like what they got up to with their recreation and fun, basically the sorts of things that we go through when we are doing coaching with people. Those things get down to the value systems of the person. Is that what you're thinking of doing? Get to that like a level of detail.
Although that could be part of it, the significance or impact that I see is that most people realise is that our society is based on a massive amount of free will, so that personal choice is a big thing. But if you start talking about certainly our parents, you have to describe initially a society where in this country that was very limited, and then you have to compare the fact that prior to that earlier generations would have had the degree of mobility or the amount of resources available to have any choices at all. So the pressures affecting generations years ago between one generation and the next were almost the same. So there were no clashes between generations resulting from a difference in childhood and the way that childhood happened. So by talking now about more immediate past, our parents, I think we can demonstrate by our memories or recollection that it could explain to a great extent why the younger generation might have a problem understanding our ethic code, our morality code, our the important values that we place on things, which to their mind, in the society that they've grown up in, has been very, very much confused. So I'm hoping there'll be some value arising for certainly the youngest generation of Eliases as a result of that.
So you're going to go from the societal approach,
Yep.
This is the type of society and the value systems that they grew up in, which are very much different to the ones that we find ourselves in nowadays. That's the plan, eh?
That's the plan.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, what we can do is we can take these two things back and see what we think of them by playing them back. And usually it's not a great plan to do this length of the trial. You should do clap the hands, 1, 2, 3, 4 testing, and then go and then check it. Not do a spiel.
Preamble, yeah.
But the most important thing is to get whatever content you can. Whenever you get an opportunity, you need that content fast.
Yeah.
You don't need, which other people sometimes do, they get the content and then they polish that one.
Yeah.
And then they come back and they get some more content, they polish that one, finish it. That's going to take you forever. So you want to try and get the content as fast as possible. And nowadays you can get it by the internet,
Yeah.
We can do the same thing on the internet, either with 2 separate cameras or cameras linked to the internet so they pop up on the same thing here.
Yeah.
This is the easier way of doing it, to take it, to do that, and then pass the files over and then do the edit afterwards.
Yeah. The only thing I'm uncertain about is if you got to the point where, because we're distant, the distance between us, but you could have a setup where there's a an arrangement where we're talking together, but obviously we're distant, and therefore we can hook up with upon the same system. We're using the same system for the duration of whatever the length we say, 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah, you can do the
Yeah.
same. You can do the same thing, but somebody is running a sort of producer setup, not a recording by camera or whatever. Somebody is doing recording. Maybe then you're going to switch between. If somebody's talking,
Yeah.
switch that camera. Somebody else talks, just change the camera. So somebody's got a laptop sitting here, perhaps
Yeah.
and they're on the internet. You're not sitting there. You're sitting
In home.
at home.
Yeah.
And then I talk, and I say, what do you think of that? And I press the button, and the thing switched to. We got that program on the laptop.
Oh, right. Yes.
All these programs are, well,
Yeah.
a lot of them are free, so you can just get them. The one I use is OBS, but
Yeah.
I'm not using it because I'm planning on doing most of my stuff with the editing program, and that one's Shotcut.
Yeah.
So I've used a few of them and sort of ended up with Shotcut, but they're all very similar.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes or
5
so
minutes.
limit, and
Yeah.
that should be about it. So we'll switch these off now.
Yep.